And we are live. What's going on, big dog?
What do you say? Good evening, everybody. A lot to report, a lot to talk about, a lot of stuff going on. Four new commits, two for the class of 2020, two, which is a current class, of course, and two for the class of 2021. A couple new crystal ball picks that people might not know that one will be very excited about, and one should everybody should be excited about. So we'll talk about all that, answer some questions. Actually, we're doing something a little different because we noticed that when we've done the live chat, sometimes the questions slide, through the cracks and stuff. So we're actually going to monitor those better and track them better. And actually, when I was giving the playing time for the wide receivers, I forgot to mention Mike Harley, who I think will be third in terms of snaps, only to JT four and to KG Osborne. So Harley, if he's healthy, I think will be third in terms of snaps among receivers. But Byron, one of our listeners, pointed that out, and I went, "Man, how the hell can I forget about Harley?" But a
Because
lot to talk about.
easy because we got so much talent at wide receiver that it's not that crazy though to forget about one or two
You're
sometimes.
not kidding, man.
What's
You're
going
not
on,
kidding.
Dennis Wilson, Joseph? How you guys doing? How's your evening? Hope all is well, man. We got Tyler in here. I don't think I've ever seen Tyler, so welcome. He says great weekend for the Canes. Absolutely. I
Awesome
think I,
weekend.
I think this Paradise Camp was probably the best Paradise Camp, not just because of the recruits that we got rolling in and committing, but of the hype around it. I think we've had the biggest turnout in terms of former players and alumni, and I think we had probably at least 100 recruits. Eric, what's going on? He says Paradise went great. Yes, it did.
Man, did it ever.
We got
Just
Taz in here. How's it going? How's it going, Taz? I'm never gonna forget your name, Taz, because I know it's difficult. So yeah. Joseph says he's waiting on Austin Cave to commit.
guess what? I got some good news for you. Not a commit as of yet, but Andrew Ivins from 247 said that after he already did his visit to West Virginia and to Minnesota, and Andrew Ivins put a crystal ball pick in for Tyreek Austin Cave because he
Yeah.
said that a well placed source said that even though the visits went well and he said good things about West Virginia and Minnesota, that here in a couple of weeks, probably, he will commit, and he believes he will commit to the University of Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. We got Demetrius in here, Chris. No problem. We got Timmy in here. What's going on, Timmy? I think Austin K is one of those guys that we've been expecting to commit. We heard about his visits going great and whatnot, and we also heard about some pressure from Manny Diaz, at least saying that, hey man, if you want to we want to hear an answer soon. At least that's what was reported with Austin Cave and what seems to be the trend with Manny and the recruits. It seems like Manny's trying to pressure for some of these guys to go ahead and give us something. If not, we're gonna be looking elsewhere. So I think some of these guys, Austin Cave might be one of them. They're starting to get the picture. Like, hey, if we don't, if I don't commit to this university, there might not be a spot for me, in the next coming months or whatnot. So I love the fact that Manny's bringing that that message to Kane's recruits and like, hey, if you want to play here, good man, come on through. And if you don't, we're gonna be looking elsewhere. And it seems like that's been working. Some of the guys, I understand Canes fans might not get excited about some guys because they might be quote unquote 3 stars or guys that are not highly ranked. But I think me and the big dog have made it well known to everybody that we don't pay that much attention to the stars, frankly. And we want Hurricanes through and through. Guys that want to play here, guys that are really about all this, this new Miami and this bleeding orange and green. And if it takes some guy that's a 3 star, quote unquote, like I said, compared to a guy that's a 5 star that might show us out on national television, then it looks like Manny's just going the route that he really wants guys that really do want to play here and guys that he trusts to develop and whatnot. So Matthew Carter,
But
Tony, what's going on, Tony?
Timmy Tomlinson, Dennis, we already talked about Matthew, Tony, Chris, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us. Let's actually get to this. We'll talk about the for those of you who are late joining, I just mentioned, and I probably have to mention it again later on in the show, that Andrew Ivins on 247 tonight reported that he put a crystal ball pick in for Tyreek Austin Cave, saying that a well placed source said that when he makes a decision here in the next couple of weeks, that he believes that decision will be the Miami Hurricanes. So, which would be big, big, big for us. You want to talk about the 2020 commits
Yeah.
first, or let's
Let's
talk
go
about
ahead.
those?
Elijah was the first one.
Right. One was a
So
recommit, Elijah Roberts, the defensive lineman, who I think is going to be a defensive tackle on the next end, on the next level. He's about, I think he's about mid 260s, 267 in terms of weight, but I see that getting up to about 290, and I think he's going to be a three technique and a really good three technique, because even though he was listed as a strong side defensive end, I think he's going to be a tremendous, tremendous defensive tackle with a lot of quickness. And then the other one was Chris Washington, a big offensive lineman from Tennessee, 6'7", 269 pounds. We're going to put out a video here this week showing the breakdowns of Chris Washington and of Elijah Roberts. Roberts, you guys saw it on our defensive prospects video that we had a breakdown on him. But Washington, the he's definitely going to be a red shirt. And I think he's somewhat, but he's that like Wisconsin type of project, where you get this guy who's 6'7", underweight because he's only 269, and you build him up in weight and you maintain that athleticism. If you see his film, he plays with a chip, really good run blocker. He looked good at pass blocking, but also the level of competition wasn't great, and I wasn't in love with his feet. I think he needs to do a lot of footwork drills, and I think he's going to be he's a project type of tackle, but he's a tackle that has a huge upside because he has really long arms. He is athletic and doesn't carry any bad weight. Obviously, he's only 269 at 6'7", and but he's a guy who by his second year he should start earning some playing time. So I'm happy with both of those commits. And then the 2021 commits, for those of you that don't know as of yet, are Cortez McKenzie. He is a line. Thing about McKenzie is that the 2021 linebacker class is deep, deep, and there's a lot of studs out there. Taking a commit this early. Now, obviously, one of the catchphrases that's happening in recruiting now is processing, meaning that you take a commit, but then if you get somebody better, you process the guy out. Basically, you tell the guy, hey, listen, there's not going to be a lot of playing time for you. So if you want to still come to Miami, you can. And of course, the player decides to go elsewhere, which frankly, I'm sort of leaning that way to us doing with Justin Hodges if we can. But we'll talk about that. Anyways, why don't we just start answering the questions? Oh, I'm sorry. I mentioned Cortez McKenzie. The other 2021 commit is Jacoby George. Along the same lines, I really like him as a slot receiver. But the problem is 2021 has a couple of studs at slot receiver in Yul Keith Brown and Brashard Smith.
mm-hmm.
So that's a good point, Taz. That's right. Yeah. Listen, guys, one of the guys on Twitter actually tweeted this at a 247 writer. I don't know if it was David Lake or Andrew Ivins, but one of our Canes fans tweeted at them that our class would be even better if they hadn't changed. 5 of our current commits had been 4 stars. And after they committed to us, they knocked them down a star or knocked them down in ratings. And the 247 writer didn't answer him back. But yeah, don't watch that. We do the breakdown for you, and that's the thing is when we do the video breakdowns for you, we tell you what our opinions are, and you can see it in the film, in the tape, why our opinions are that. But we put it in there so you guys can see for yourself and make up your own mind. So, but
Yeah,
anyways,
and I think some people, Taz pointed out, um, Michael Pickney was a 3-star. I mean, you guys will start seeing the trend if there's something that you guys haven't paid attention to in the past when it comes to the stars and the actual player evaluations. If it's something that you guys haven't paid attention to in the past, I feel like in our videos we give you guys the stars, based on the 247 composite rankings, and then we go over the film with you. We break down their measurables, like their 40, their verticals, their shuttle times and whatnot, and you guys will see. I mean, some of the things, if you guys haven't been really breaking down film of a lot of recruits and just paying attention to the rankings and the stars and whatnot, it'll be hard to kind of to keep track of how those stars turn out based on how the players turn out. But I encourage all of you guys watching to really, instead of looking at you hear a name and you look them up. So you look up their stars, you look up where they're ranked, and then I mean, it's easy to make up your mind about what kind of player it is that we're basically offering. But I encourage you guys to go a step further, and before you make your evaluation based on the stars and the rankings and whatnot, to truly look at their film and look at their measurables, their height,
by the
weight.
way, excuse me 1 second before you keep. I just want to say, Tony Kidd, Chris Wilcox, thank you very much for the great things you said. We are going to get to your question. Canes for life, Eddie, uh, George, D Rev. What's up, D Rev? Matthew Carter, thank you guys for joining us, and I will get to your questions, guys. We're actually tracking them as we're talking. But go ahead. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, dude. Finish your point.
100%. So yeah, like I was saying, I encourage you guys to really go a step further before you go ahead and make an opinion and say, and maybe question some of the offers that we're giving to some of these kids. Go look at the film. Look at the film. Look at their measurables. Look at their weight and height, court. Compared to where they're at currently, their age, and where they're at in high school. Whether it be a 2020 commit next year or a 2021 commit. I encourage everybody watching to really to study, study these guys. Look at film. Me and the big dog have always said it. We look at huddle and break down and look at these kids, their highlight films or whatnot that they put that huddle post up, and we look at their stats on max preps. Go a step further, guys. Don't I understand this whole hype about the stars and whatnot, but me and the big dog have been trying to hammer down the point of that. Frankly, stars mean only a little bit of the full picture of some of these players. And me and the big dog have put a lot more weight on that, a lot less weight on that compared to other guys. And me and the big dog, you could speak on this a little bit if you want as well. But I was a believer of the star system. I'm younger than the big dog. He's been watching this story already for
40
over
years.
40 years with the Canes.
Yeah.
But I was always one of the guys that would tell my old man, like, yeah, I get it, man, but hey, look at where our class ranks, and we're not. How come we're losing this kid? And look at Bama, and look at Clemson, and look at FSU, and look at Florida. How come they're getting these 5 stars, but we're not? And Big Dog's like, dude, those 5 stars don't mean what you think. And then me and him always had like kind of back and forth. And then finally, when I started to really want to study more film and want to know more about these players, I started understanding. That a lot of these kids sometimes they get certain rankings and certain stars and whatnot, and it's not a valid evaluation of their talent. And then we've talked about the SEC bias and frankly the South Florida bias. You got a kid down here, he's playing on much better competition than some kid in South Dakota or whatnot. So obviously the kids down here are not going to get rated the same way as some of the other kids around the country, but whatever. I kind of want to say that I don't want to keep on blabbering too much about
Yeah.
the stars and stuff like
No,
that.
no,
But
it's listen, guys, all I have to tell you is this, and again, I'm not saying it, they say hindsight's always 2020. When it was going on, before the 2018 class even signed this letter of intent, the point I made to Junior was Gregory Rousseau was a 3-star and an offensive lineman that was going to be a 4-star. And I said that this is a guy who has top 5 NFL draft pick type of talent because he's a freak of nature. But anyways, let's get to some of the questions. The
yeah,
big
let's get
one,
some more questions.
yeah, the big one is Keyshawn Lawrence. And first off, thank all of you guys, Anthony, all the guys we didn't mention, Terrence. But let me get rigor mortis. All right. First, Keyshawn Lawrence. I actually was able to talk a little bit or chat, I should say, with Andrew Ivins in terms of corresponding back and forth by post or text, not text, whatever you call it, post. Um, he hasn't changed it, and he hasn't put in a crystal ball pick for Lawrence or anything like that, but he did say something that I thought was very, very important, and that is that Keyshawn Lawrence himself said that the best relationship that he has with a coach, he has with Mike Rump. That's huge for a kid to say that publicly, because you have to remember this is a kid who's been to Tennessee 3 different times. All the crystal balls have him going to Tennessee on the 247 site, and we know he's Cornelder's cousin, obviously. We know Cornelder, in fact, when he was on the visit, they FaceTime with Cornelder, and they chopped it up for like 15 minutes and stuff on the FaceTime. And Corn was talking about how much he loved Miami and how much he loves what Manny Diaz is doing and all that stuff. Um, okay, I'm going to tell you my opinion. I think Keyshawn Lawrence is going to Miami. That's my opinion.
But I think we should add something to that. I think one of the things that we talked about in our breakdown of the potential prospects for 2020 was the fact that we were recruiting him as a cornerback
From the beginning.
from day one.
Right.
And he's known to be a safety and being recruited, being recruited as a safety and
Thank you,
whatnot.
Byron.
So I think that's one of the key factors when it comes to Lawrence in particular, that he likes the idea of playing cornerback, and we've been recruiting him to play cornerback from day one. And I think that's a very important factor, when we're talking about Lawrence and the Canes' chances of landing him, frankly.
Well, and Queen mentioned that everybody has him going to Tennessee. They do. All the crystal balls, it's 100% going to Tennessee. Um, for Lawrence to say publicly that the coach that he has the best relationship with is Mike Rumpf, I think speaks volumes. Um, you hear recruits all the time talk very highly about coaches. Oh, this guy, he texts me every day. Yeah, we got a real good bond. We got that's my guy, and you hear comments like that, but they don't almost never do a comparison where they publicly say this guy is the guy who I have the best relationship with.
Mm.
And Keyshawn Lawrence said that Mike Rumpf is the guy who he has the best relationship with. When you factor that in, along with Cornelder being his cousin, along with, and again, guys, if I had any further inside information, I'd share it with you. Even if I didn't mention a source, I'd share it with you. I don't have any more inside information. Okay. But the fact that he structured it where Miami was his last visit before the dead period, and that he tweeted out that he was going to make a decision soon. I think that speaks volumes. I think it speaks volumes that the whole idea. And by the way, there was a rumor on one of the recruiting sites. I don't know if it was in an article, if it was in the comment section, about that the some negative things happened during Lawrence's visit. Andrew Ivins, I also, when I corresponded with him today, mentioned that specifically. He said he specifically tried to find out and that it was completely false. He didn't just say he hadn't heard it. He said that the report was completely false, that the visit went perfect. It went fantastic. And Keyshawn Lawrence even said that the visit really helped Miami. So, taking all those things into account, the relationship with Cornelder, the fact that we were there first in terms of wanting him to be a cornerback, the fact that we were his last visit, the fact that he said that Mike Rumpf is the coach who he has the best relationship with, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about where we are with Keyshawn Lawrence, and that actually factors in. One of the guys had a question about are you keeping track of the other ones, Junior?
Yeah, I got it, man.
Okay. Somebody had a question about the JUCO transfers. Are we going to get any more JUCO transfers or other than Traore? Um, Here's the thing, and this factors into the Lawrence question. There's a guy out there by the name of Brian George. Um, he's actually from Belglade originally. I mean, if you watch him, I do like him. Now, I like him as a consolation prize. Here's the dispute that I was having, or the questions I was having with Andrew Ivins from 247. And by the way, again, if you guys, they have a 50% off thing. If you guys don't subscribe to it, I urge you to subscribe. They really are a good site, and the local reporters, Andrew Ivins, David Lake, and Chris Stock, they do a great job. I have that's a free plug because I don't have any relationship with them, but that's one of the sites I use the most. Um, Ivins is under the impression that we're only going to take one corner in addition to Justin Hodges. Okay, here's what I think could be happening. I think if we get Lawrence, there is a possibility in my mind that because we have a couple of cornerbacks now that we have higher on the board. Okay, if Justin Hodges hadn't committed, we'd have Hodges behind George, Marcus Clark, who is a late riser, who's actually ranked as an athlete, played wide receiver and cornerback, who I like ahead of Hodges. Kendall Dennis, who we talked about, has that 4.4 speed. Um, I don't know. I don't know if Manny would process that. That's become the catchword. Process um, a kid out after he committed. But if we get Lawrence, I wouldn't be surprised if we get another cornerback and we find a way for Justin Hodges to go elsewhere. How's that for going out on a limb?
I wouldn't be upset about it. I'll tell you that much. Because Justin Hodges was one of those offers that kind of raised my eyebrow at, to be 100% honest. I'm not, no knock on Hodges, but I just, usually when you see, not just an offer, but an actual,
Commit.
an
Yeah.
actual commit,
And we take a commitment. Right.
and we take a commitment, that's, so early in the process for a player that's not high profile, I'll say.
And by the way, just so people don't say again, hindsight's 2020. You railed about that on a previous show that we probably should not have taken Justin Hodges' commitment back then when we did.
Well, I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man.
Listen, if you're going to do that, then you have to have. Listen, we've done it before. Mark Rick did it. You look at Arthur Sikowski, that was committed to us, the quarterback for IMG. Okay, he was committed to us. He's at Rutgers now. You know why he decommitted? He lost his job at IMG and looked horrible. I mean, he was completing like 40% of his passes. And basically, Mark Rick told him, listen, son, I don't see you playing here. And he decommitted and went to Rutgers. So part of running a big time program, man, sometimes you have to do stuff like that. You do. And I don't like it. I'm not telling you, listen, by all accounts, Justin Hodges is a really good kid. He even tweeted out after the decommitments from Brian Robinson, or the decommitment from Brian Robinson. He tweeted out that his recruitment shut down and that he's 100% committed to Miami and he'll never decommit. He's not talking to anybody. He won't
But
take any visits.
he
He's done.
also hasn't gotten any offers like Miami, though. I mean, let's be
I know.
honest.
Yeah, I
Let's
know.
let's be honest. I mean, if you're getting, you know, smaller school offers, and all of a sudden the U comes into the fold, and it's like, hey, man, we want you. Like, yeah, I don't care. I'm shutting down my recruitment 1,000% to go to University of Miami compared to the other schools that are offering me. So, look, man, at the end of the day, Rumpf has brought in amazing talent. When it comes to the DBs and stuff like that. Christian Williams is one I always point to, taking him away from Bama. We've always said the story about him going up there, and him eating at a restaurant. People telling him, "Hey, don't waste your time." That Williams is staying home, type of thing. And Rumpf was like, "Okay, no, we'll see." And I mean, sure enough, he took him away from Saban. So those are things that you would like to see. Now, I think it's fair to criticize, and it's fair to kind of just wonder, why the early commitment and why the early offer to Hodges. I don't know. I mean, when you have guys, there's a lot of talent out there when it comes to defensive backs.
Quick question. Eric is asking that Manny Diaz bat signal. Did, which one are you talking? Because he sent out a couple. If you're talking about earlier in the day, he had Jacoby George was a 2021 wide receiver who committed to us. So we have two 2021s and two 2020 commits.
Mhm.
Also,
Oh, but the Jacoby George one was early on. I think I know
was there a
what.
bat signal after that?
Yeah,
The early
because
one.
there was one that he sent out today in the afternoon, and that's something I haven't heard anything back from that one yet. The
So
one early in the morning was for George.
Queens is mentioning that it could have been for about Tim Burns. Eric Andrew Ivins put in a crystal ball pick for Tim Burns. So that's very. And by the way, if you guys haven't seen this young man, Tim Burns, he's a cornerback out of Northwestern High School in Miami. Um, he has to he has to get bigger. He's kids real small in terms of thin. He's actually I think he's about 5'10" in terms of height, but he's like a buck 50 soaking wet. So he's gonna have to gain some weight. But the kid is really athletic, really feisty and combative, really good cornerback and a good athlete. So Tim Burns is one of the crystal ball picks that we talked about earlier. That I think people, if you see his tape again, don't pay attention to the star ratings. But if you see his tape, Burns is a baller.
Yeah.
Burns is a baller. I do like that, and that might be what you're talking about. That maybe he does commit early. So
And don't pay so much attention, guys, to the weight because I mean
he'll gain it.
these are sophomores in high school, basically.
Yeah,
So there's just plenty more growth.
they're just going into their junior season. Sure.
Exactly. So there's plenty more growth there, to be had and whatnot. But yeah, I'm pretty sure and that's the one thing I wanted to mention. I was thinking about this the other day. What other coach in a big time program is doing this thing on Twitter that Manny's doing?
Yeah, there's some young coaches. I'm sure they are, but Manny's Twitter game is on fire.
I'm sure
And
there's coaches out there that are doing it, but I mean, when you have, I just love it, man. Manny sends out these little, the new Miami Twitter gifs and whatnot, and everybody's just like, oh, oh, oh
no,
no.
that's the thing is Manny. Listen, you go back to everybody compares him personality wise to Jimmy Johnson. Manny has a way of connecting with these young kids, and it's genuine, and you could see it. I mean, you could see in the way that they interact with him. And listen, he is. You look at what he did in the transfer portal, guys. He dominated the transfer portal like no
Yeah.
coach in the country did. To the point that you started hearing all these other coaches complaining about the portal. And
Mhm. And
man,
there's one thing in particular that I want to.
Chris is saying that the one in the morning wasn't for George.
Well, who was it for then? I think it was for George because we haven't. I thought the one in the morning was for George, and then I know he did do one after.
He did one after that then.
He did one after. He did one in the morning, right? And I think that's when I texted you. I was like, "Oh, we got another one, dude," and then you told me, "Oh, who?" And I was like, "Oh, we don't know yet." And then it came out that George committed, but then he sent out another one a few hours later, and I'm not sure. There's one of those two tweets that we're missing. That should be because in total
Maybe
we have four commits for the weekend, but we're missing. There
we're
was two
missing one.
tweets. There's two tweets today, and we only got one, which is George. So either the one in the morning met somebody else, or the one after that one met somebody else. There's one player that we're missing there when it comes to.
Then, being that Andrew Ivins put in that crystal ball for Tim Burns, and we just offered him, that might be the one. And D. Howard's mentioned he graduated from Northwestern, and that he made an interception for a touchdown. Yeah, no, the kid's a baller. He's a straight up baller.
Yeah.
And I don't, man, listen, and if you see what he's done in camps too, this kid can play. He can play. And like you said, I mean, he's going into his junior year right now in August. He starts his junior year. So he has plenty of time to gain some good weight. If you look at his body, he's not grown into his body yet at all. So he might even get up to 5'11, and because I think they actually have him listed at 5'11, but I think he's 5'10. Um, he is a baller. I really like this kid, Tim Burns. But he's a 2021. Obviously, there's a lot of time left for that. So, anyway, I'm sorry. I wanted to
Yeah,
get to.
Chris. Yeah, Chris. You know what, Chris? Yeah, I think I know what you're saying now because the later one, Manny sent out the little GIF, and then he even put 21 Savage as a hashtag on it.
Okay, so that was
Oh
definitely for
yeah,
George.
so that was definitely for George. The one after, the one earlier today in the morning is the one that they're asking about, and they're 100% on the ball when it comes to that. We haven't heard about that commit
Oh,
yet.
you know what I'm wondering? Remember, we said besides the commitments, we said that Andrew Ivins put two crystal ball picks in for Miami. One was Tim Burns, and the other one was Tyreek Austin Cave. You think that maybe Austin Cave, since he knows, listen, he knows that linebacker spot, it's starting to close.
Yeah,
Because we're still going after Justin Flo. We're still going after some bigger guys. We got Corey Flagg and we got Alvin Mathis. So we got two linebackers committed. So Austin Cave might know that he needs to either or get off the pot. Because Manny, listen, guys, one of the things I love, and you guys are seeing it, a frame Banda went into a rant and the other day about recruits and about people paying attention to stars and stuff like that. But one of the things that he said is that Manny is instituting a different way of recruiting. And he said it's being implemented as we speak, and it's going to take some time for the word to get out. And that's what we have been talking about, that Manny's has no problems with putting pressure on people. He's not taking silent commits. And I guarantee you when Corey Flagg committed, Manny got in touch with Tyreek Austin Cave and said, 2 down, 2 to go. And you don't want to lose your spot. You got to do something. So that might be, I'm thinking it's more likely Tim Burns, because I do think Tyreek Austin Cave is going to wait a couple of weeks before he makes a decision. But it could have very well been Cave. So we'll see. Let me get over to a quick one. D-Rev said that he feels Blake Baker was the best pick, that Dan Enos was the most pivotal, but he would have rather had Kendall Briles as an offensive coordinator. The reason I disagree with you, D-Rev, is because Briles as an offensive coordinator, yeah, he learned a ton from his dad, and that's one of the most innovative guys you're ever going to find. The thing with Enos is his ability as a quarterback coach, as a quarterback whisperer. So that's where I'll give him the edge over Briles. Because you look at what Enos did. I'm not just talking about Arkansas, because obviously Arkansas, but Alabama, because he had Tua and Jalen Hurts. But even in Arkansas, you look what he did with Brandon Allen. Everywhere Dan Enos has been, as soon as he gets there, the quarterbacks just go through the roof in terms of their completion percentage being better, their average yards per attempt being better, their mechanics being better. So that's why I give Enos the edge over Briles. But listen, Blake Baker's a heck of a pick. And you know who's really winning me over, and not just winning me over, is making me a fan of his, is Butch Berry. I think Butch is doing a fantastic job in the offensive line. And you look at what I mean, he got Chris Washington. Obviously, he got Jalen Rivers. So now we have ourselves two real-time tackles in the 2020 class. And obviously, hopefully, we'll get Isaiah Walker. So I'm really happy with what we're doing recruiting. And listen, that's a big deal. I think it's a big deal what we're doing. So you want to?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. So we can get some more of the questions.
Yeah. Before we get into more questions, guys, if you're watching and you're enjoying the content you're getting, please hit the like. It'll really help us out with the YouTube algorithm. You guys know how all that works. So hit the like if you guys are watching. We would really appreciate it. We got George in here, Dorian, uh,
Well,
Chris said,
let me see. Oh, Joseph Holmes is asking about the Alabama commit at Paradise Camp. Listen, Ivans also wrote in his article in the Inside Miami Recruiting that he feels the way he put it was before Daz Worsham visited that the word flip kept going around. He said after the visit, he thinks it could be coming. It could be coming. And then, which I'm glad he said, was in case, because every time that we get a commit away from Bama, people say, oh, well, maybe Bama didn't want him. Well, Andrew Ivins wrote that Bama has made him a priority to keep him in the class. But he's under the impression that Miami feels that a flip from Daz Worsham could be imminent. For those of you that don't know, he's a wide receiver, a four-star wide receiver out of Alabama. He's from Trussville, Hewitt High School, I believe, in Trussville, Alabama. Not a big fan of his measurables. He's not a really athletic kid, but what he is productive, and he's more your possession receiver. He runs great patterns, a great route runner, great hands, uh, doesn't possess a ton of speed. You watch him on the film, on tape, he looks like he's a little bit faster, but on top of that, he had hip surgery. So he's had a hip issue. Um, with his lack of speed and a hip issue, there you go, beating a dead horse. If he wasn't committed to Bama, he wouldn't be a 4-star. But the kid he had like 70 catches, really productive, good body, knows how to use it, knows how to high point the ball. I'm not a huge fan of Worsham, but the visit went really well.
I'm just a fan of taking anybody away from Bama, frankly. That's what I'm a fan
A
of.
lot of people feel that way too. A lot of people feel that way.
That's one of the reasons why I love that Christian Williams fit. Just because it was taking him away from Saban, that's good enough for me, man. Hey, look, obviously when you're a Canes fan and you always consider yourself, at least you see yourself being at the top, even though the results might not play out that way. I'm a Dolphins fan as well, so I have a certain disdain, to say the least, when it comes to Saban. So ever since he went to Bama, I've always felt a certain way about Bama. So taking anybody away from Bama is good enough for me. So
Dorian brought up a good point. First off, Dorian, all the guys that have joined us, welcome and thank you so much. Clavon, let's see, I'm missing anybody new. Samuel, nice glasses, big dog. You're right, I can see now. I'm trying to. I'm actually, what I'm doing is I'm looking through the bifocal.
yeah.
I'm old. Dorian said about moving Evidence and Joku to tight end. When we got him, I know he was really light, but he's probably up to 225, 230, I think, at 6'6". I actually thought when we got him that eventually we were going to move him to tight end. I don't know. Why we haven't. And now with Brevin Jordan and Will Mallory, I mean, it'd be pretty useless. And Michael Irvin playing the way he is, it'd be pretty useless moving Evidence to tight end now. But Dorian, I thought that's what they should have done from the beginning, frankly, after he started gaining weight.
I agree. I just think, like you said, he was pretty light when he when he came in here. So, hey, one thing I wanted to mention, man, and I kind of jumped off track. I
Yep.
really loved about Manny. Okay, this being his official, like his first Paradise camp where he has complete control of everything. I think, I think the fact that, excuse me, that he said, you know what, guys, this is gonna be different than any camp you guys have been to, because I feel like we should start talking a little bit more about Paradise camps, and this is what basically the topic's about. But I
Well,
know it's all.
I'm,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, just to point out, because Joseph was talking about Daz Warsham's 40 time. I hadn't finished that point. I'm not a fan of Daz Warsham in terms of us getting him. I understand whatever. I don't care if they have him at a 40 star, and I know he's committed to Bama. I'm just not a fan of. I've watched his tape. Listen, he's a guy who has. He's like a Corey Flagg of a wide receiver in terms of he's a guy who has a very high floor but a very low ceiling. And Joseph, if I imagine you've watched the tape, I know you do. I think you'd agree with that. You know that Warstrom has a high floor but a low ceiling, and I think that's it. I'm sorry, dude. Go ahead.
To that point, I mean, I'm okay with that as long as the guys remain consistent. I mean, with Flag, I understand what you're saying about him having a high floor, low ceiling, but you can't argue with production. I
No,
mean,
you
he
can't. 140,
yeah,
144 tackles.
exactly my point. So I think some of these guys could, you know, you guys gotta understand. Sometimes when you're not, you don't come in with this
No,
five
no,
star
no,
kind
no,
of
but
talent.
no, no, but taking away the star rating, taking away the star rating
Uh-huh.
with Corey Flagg, you watch him on tape, and you realize that he really should be ranked as a 3 star where he is.
No, I get that. I get that, but
That's that. If I ranked him, that's where I give him would be a three
no,
star.
I agree. I agree 100%. But you know, sometimes I feel like a 3 star could just be solid, and I feel like he could surpass and prove more than just that 3 star. I think he's a player, man. He's a baller. He's solid. You know, I'd rather have a 3 star Corey Flag than a 5 star whatever that comes in with all this talent and has little flashes here and there, but is not consistent. I think Corey Flag could be consistently a solid player. Now, you know, I get the point that he might not have necessarily that talent to be ranked as an all-star or as an all-time inside linebacker when it comes to the U and stuff like that. But I'm not as I know a lot of Kane fans were kind of brought down by that commitment and I'm not. I mean, the guy we got him away from Texas, and
Well, Texas really, I think Texas A&M was really looking at. I think Texas
no, no,
had evaluated him.
I mean,
Just
I
getting him
mean
from
the
Texas.
state,
I got
I
you.
mean the state Texas, like he's from
Right.
Houston and
Hey,
whatnot.
listen, and by the way, he was the leading tackler, middle linebacker on the state champion in Texas at the highest level.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
guys know Texas football is no joke.
yeah.
Texas high school football is no joke. They're not
Hey,
Florida, but they're not all that far behind.
hey, but before, because I see the chat here going in on
Clavon,
why you always
Clavon,
trying to start?
hold
Go
on.
ahead.
Clavon had a question about. I can't make that out though. The linebacker from is that from Jacksonville? Clavon, which I'm sorry, but which linebacker is it that you're talking about?
Yeah, I think we'll wait till Cleveland gets back
Yeah,
with
yeah.
what exactly he meant with that. And George, why you trying to start beef in the chat, man? What's going on with you, bro? I see you here. I see you here going off. But whatever. Let me go back to what I was trying to say about what Manny what he says. Yes, Brandon Jennings.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was. I'm thinking 2020. I'm going. Wait a second. They're a linebacker. I don't know in 2020. The thing with Jennings, I mean, I listen. We obviously have the end because of his brother being here and get well soon. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to be out for the 2020 season. he's a stud. The younger brother's a stud. He's even better than the one that we have currently. The thing is, I think he might end up being a defensive end because if you look at him, he hasn't. I don't think he's done growing, and he's already a big boy for a linebacker, for a high school linebacker. So he might end up being a defensive end. He's plenty athletic. I mean, I see him transitioning. Maybe like a Patrick Joyner type. So he might stay at linebacker. But I definitely think he's for real. He's one of those guys that I think is, I mean, you look at Zach Lovett, obviously Terrence Lewis, uh, there's Jonathan Flo, who we're in good with, had a great visit, by the way. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think he's for real. I'm not sure that he's going to stay being a linebacker. I'm sorry. Go ahead, then.
Yeah. And Canes for Life brings up a good point. He says, watch out how Joyner turns out. I think Joyner's underrated. He says monster with Avery Huff or Sam Brooks. Hey man, I agree. I agree. I like Joyner quite a bit. I know Big Dog, you like him quite a bit as well. But
I do. But again, he's one of those guys that I think has a high floor and a low ceiling.
yeah, exactly.
You know,
Let me say what Matthew Carter, Miami have a chance with the Vegas tight end. God, I hope we do. we saw what he did. I think he was probably one of the highlights of Paradise Camp.
oh,
Frankly,
he,
this
he was
weekend,
the alpha. Yeah, he was the alpha dog of the camp.
him
For those of
and
you that don't know, Darnell Washington. I mean, you look at David Njoku standing next to him.
he looked
I
tiny,
swear,
man.
dude.
He looked tiny.
Njoku looks small.
Yeah,
And you all know
yeah.
Njoku's 6'4" and what, like 250 and 255 of its muscle. And this kid, I mean, well, I showed you all the picture. Should I show in case you guys didn't see it the other day? Let me pull that up. I got to show you this picture. It's amazing. I'm going to show you a picture of Darnell Washington. Listen, in terms of us having a good chance, he's been here twice. Both times he's paid his own way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that says a lot. If a young man pays his own way 2 different times to come down to Miami, he's coming from Vegas, so it's not a cheap trip, and that's fine. I mean, his family might be doing well, whatever, but he came down twice on his own dime,
From
and
from
and
from
and
your
that's saying
words,
something.
from your words to God's ears came for life. He says tradition will get him. Jimmy Graham, prime example. Hey man, whew.
Listen, and for you,
Just
those of you,
watching them, yesterday and watching some of the clips. Man, he's just. I told you yesterday, dude. I was like, I
all right,
texted you. Go ahead. You got a
guys,
picture?
yeah, that's Darnell Washington. Okay, you tell me if that young man looks like he looks like he's in his
Nah, go
second year in the NFL.
show it again because I think the camera was on me.
Oh, okay. Let me show it. Oh, I have to talk to make sure it stays on me. All
Mm-hmm.
right, guys, here it is. That's Darnell Washington. Now tell me, does that not look like he's in his second year in the NFL?
But not just that. You just gotta look at his frame. Looks like he could put on 20, 30 more pounds, and then it's scary. It's already scary, but imagine Washington with 20, 30 more pounds and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, he was the highlight. I mean, everybody was talking about Darnell, and he he was just he was amazing. He was the player and playing like the player that everybody knows that he is, frankly. And I think just having a chance to get him, forget about just getting him. The fact that we're in the mix to get him, I think it's big, and I don't think we should understate that point. That the fact that we're in the chance to even get him, I think is huge. And Tyler Van Dyke is another one.
Oh my God! Did you all hear it? That's what we haven't talked about. Paradise Camp 7-on-7s. Tyler Van Dyke went 8 for 8. I think all the completions were to Darnell Washington and Javier Restrepo. Restrepo tore it up as he usually does. And Tyler Van Dyke, they said he was making some throws that were just out of this world.
Did you see some of the clips and you just hear the
Yeah,
pop? You like
yeah,
one of the I think it was like a slant or an end that he threw to Darnell, and you just hear the pop. You just hear like the big pop
yeah.
of the zip that he was putting
Well,
on the ball. And Andrew Ivins, I don't know if it was Andrew Ivins or I can't remember the guy's name right now from State of the U. Oh man,
was it
but
Gabby?
nah, it wasn't Gabby, man.
Okay.
Ah, I forgot who it was, but
Well,
it was one
sorry.
of
We apologize for not being able to give credit.
the.
Go ahead.
I forgot.
That's all
Oh
right. We don't worry
man,
about it.
no, he's the one that posted the one of the live streams, of the
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
introduction.
yeah. Yes, 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 yes. Oh man.
It's gonna
Never
bother
mind.
me,
Go
man.
ahead. I know. Go ahead. Go ahead.
We're gonna shout you out extra when we get your name. But he said I think he's the one. Correct me if I'm wrong, Big Dog. But he was one of the ones that said that Van Dyke has probably impressed him the most, and he says that he already has an NFL arm. And
Oh
Steven
yeah, yeah.
Adams, thank you, D Rev. My goodness, that was gonna bother me for so long.
Yeah, it
Steven
was Stephen Adams, right?
Adams,
Yeah, yeah.
Stephen Adams. Sorry,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but State of
He
you.
was.
He was.
That's exactly who it was.
Thank you, man. That was gonna
Thank
bother
you, D
me
Rev.
like crazy. Yeah, appreciate it.
Tony Kidd. Oh, by the way, guys, if you haven't already, please hit the like. It really does help us. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. I mentioned this. This show's idea, actually, Saeed Bashir, who's one of the Junior and the Big Dog supporters, he's the one that gave us the idea to do a wrap up show about Paradise Camp, and we have the greatest. The greatest. It's not just Kings fam; it's the Junior and the Big Dog fam now because you guys take it upon yourselves to help our show, to retweet, to send tweets out, and man, I can't even begin to tell you how thankful I am to
Yeah,
all of you. You guys are amazing, and but if you haven't, please hit the like and hit the subscribe and hit the notification bell.
yeah.
Um, I wanted to get Tony Kidd mentioned about James Williams. Was I talking about something else before? Oh,
Nah,
we were
nah.
talking about Tyler Van Dyke and
Yeah.
the and all the and he lit it up. He lit it
Mhm.
up, and Darnell Washington talked about that he can see himself catching some passes, and he says Van Dyke. I mean, listen, the kid throws in baseball. He throws the ball in the 90s. He's hyper competitive. He got invited to the elite finals, the elite 11.
Mhm.
So he will be at the elite 11 this upcoming week. Um, Stud, 6'4", great footwork, great mechanics. Dan Enos pegged him when he was a 3-star. And I have a feeling that this young man, Andrew Ivins, said that he's seen a lot of the higher ranked quarterbacks throw and that none of them could throw like Tyler Van Dyke.
Right.
So I think that says a lot. Tony Kidd, Tony, guys, thank you for the support. Tony, you mentioned about James Williams. What's funny is that he made a big play in the sevens on 7-on-7, and he threw up the U. James
Mhm.
Williams threw up the U. And now, mind you, he might have just been caught up in the moment.
Hey,
Uh,
no, Terrence Jenkins just said it, and I think I retweeted the picture. I'm not sure if you saw it, but
yeah.
Washington threw up the U as well. So
And
that's
listen,
it's
guys,
pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see.
we have 6 tight ends in the NFL right now. You know, we're not talking about the U glory days. No, I'm talking about right now. We got 6 tight ends in the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay, because you still
Anthony, I wouldn't call the Canes the favorite for Keyshawn Lawrence.
no, Anthony. I said that I believe Keyshawn Lawrence signs with the Hurricanes, but in full disclosure, nobody else has him as the favorite. I believe that he's going to too. Now, mind you, my track record is pretty decent. Um, there's just a lot of good signs. Anthony, I think you weren't with us earlier, but I mentioned that Lawrence said that the coach that he has the best relationship with among everybody that's recruited him is Mike Rumpf.
Mm-hmm.
He's on top of being Cornelder's cousin. We were in there on the ground floor with him playing cornerback, and he picked to visit us last before the dead period.
Right.
So I think we get Keyshawn Lawrence, but everybody else has him going to Tennessee.
Hmm.
So, in all fairness, I wanted to tell you that.
Yeah, I think Tennessee is obviously the favorite to land Lawrence, but I think we have a good shot, man. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, so I wanted to kind of talk about this point since we're on Paradise Camp, and one of the things that I enjoyed the most about everything that Manny said yesterday, he said, "Hey, look, guys, this is not like any other camp that you guys have been to. We're not gonna be, measuring 40 times or verticals, or we're not gonna be doing any measurables. He just wants competition, and I mean, I think that was, and also he wanted to start off the camp basically with a session of smarts of intelligence when it comes to football before getting into the physical aspect of things. And I think, most importantly, that sends a message to the parents. And I think
No, no,
that's what
and the
Manny.
way that he set it up, because
Right.
he wanted to teach them in the classroom, and then see them act it out on the field. So he
But
wanted them to not just to absorb it and learn it, but to be able to translate it to the field. But
but
go ahead.
there aren't, all those kids might not, truly. And even he said it. He was like, "Oh, I know you guys are like, man, I don't feel like doing any book work or whatever." But he was like, "Hey, that's where it starts. It starts up here first." But
Right.
so I think there's only probably a certain amount of kids that really understand that aspect and really cherish that aspect. But I think it made an even bigger impact on the parents of these kids, that, hey, Manny really cares about not just what your 40 time is, but of you being as sound physically as you are mentally as well. So
Right.
I think that sent a great message to the parents, and the fact that he didn't care about measurables. He's like, hey, we're gonna go out here and compete, and that's what it's always been about at the U. We heard Irvin talk, and we've heard players talk in the past, like, when it came to Saturdays, that was a cakewalk. The hardest things that they had to go through was competing against each other in practice, and I think that's one of the core responsibilities that Manny's taken upon himself to really institute
Relinquish.
into this whole the new Miami, is creating that competition in practice. So Saturdays, go out there and have fun. This is Saturdays are is fun day. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to competing against, your your partners and your teammates in practice, that's the hardest competition that you should face, is on the field, you know whether Green Tree or Carol Sulphur, whatever it may be, but on the field competing in practice and making sure that that's the hardest challenge that you guys have, is competing against the guy that's maybe trying to take your job. That's what Manny's trying to create, so then Saturdays could be like, okay, this is easier. I don't got a guy breathing down my back trying to take my
Hold
job.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Chris Wilcox just said that the Tennessee Rivals mod, the guy who moderates the chat, said that he believes Lawrence is trending Miami.
Ooh, I love it, baby.
Hey, can I say you heard it here first? Chris, am I allowed to do that? Can I say you heard it here first?
Hey, man, that would be nice, man.
um, Anthony asked a really good question. And it's going to be hard for me to find it here. He's asking, who would I compare Tyler Van Dyke to in college right now?
Ooh,
Ooh, that's
wow,
such a tough comparison. I'm trying to think. Man,
that's tough, man.
it is. It's
I,
tough,
I don't, I,
Anthony,
I don't want to
because
say.
he has such a big arm. He has such a big arm. And listen, 6'4", he's about 225, probably going to finish up like 235. Man, with that cannon of an arm,
That's tough.
I'll tell you what, Anthony. If I think of one, if one pops in my head before the show ends, I'll give you a comparable. But as of right now, man, I'm coming up blanks.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, I'm coming up blank in terms of who is he most like.
CB says he's compared to the quarterback at Texas, in my opinion.
Hold on, Ray D. Rev Lee said one of the rivals, Tennessee site mom said Lord, oh, it's trending Miami.
Yeah, D Rev is also adding to Tennessee mod saying that it's trending Miami for Lawrence.
Yeah, and then he said, and then 247 mod said that Miami's making it interesting. Listen, guys, I believe it. I believe Lawrence is headed to us. I really do.
Yeah.
Oh, Justin Herbert. Yeah, yeah, Anthony. That's a pretty good one. I think he has a stronger arm. He has a stronger arm than Herbert, but that's a pretty good. That's a pretty. Herbert has a pretty much of a cannon too. I think Van Dyke has the edge in arm. I mean, listen, that throw that I saw him make on tape. If you guys haven't seen his tape, it's ridiculous. He makes a 60-yard throw where he wasn't trying to throw it like as far as he could. No, it was like a just a normal throw. You think he's just flicking it and put a lot of air under it. The kid has a cannon, but you know what? That Justin Herbert comparison is pretty damn close, Anthony.
Well, he did win.
I think that is a I think that's a really good comparison.
I don't know if you saw the. I know I texted you when I first saw that it happened, but I don't know if you ever were able to see the clip on the pass that he threw to Restrepo.
Yeah, on the out,
Yeah, on the out.
on the corner route. Yeah. That was no,
it was beautiful.
Beautiful. He puts touch on the ball. Listen,
Yeah.
the kid has, on top of the fact that he has this cannon, he puts touch on the ball. That's one of the things that we worry about in Cozy has a cannon, but sometimes he doesn't have that touch. And this kid has touch, and he's a better than you think athlete. He's a good enough athlete. Now, somebody compared him to Texas, the Texas quarterback. I think Erlinger. I think he has a little bit more athleticism. I don't think Van Dyke has that athleticism. So I think maybe somebody else said Jeff George. God, I hope not. Let's see. Oh, will Williams? Somebody's asking, will Williams be a safety? Sigmund, by the way, thank you, Sigmund. Guys, again, if you haven't hit the like button or subscribe, please subscribe. Sigmund mentioned Williams. Will he be a safety or a linebacker? That's a good question, Sigmund, because he is a legit 6'5" already. Man, he would make a monster linebacker. God, he would make a good linebacker. I don't even know if he's done growing though.
Who's
because James Williams we're talking about.
Oh yeah,
man,
we might be looking at a defensive end
before he's done growing.
Yeah,
Sigmund. I mean, he moves well enough to play safety, but I do think I think he's probably going to end up being a monster linebacker. I do. Yeah. Somebody was that's George being George again.
Yeah. That some people were asking any news on
Flo's little brother
on Jonathan
Flo. Visit went fantastic. Is it? I believe
he was raving about Miami. I will say that. You know,
he was raving, and I think Flo and Darnell Washington both went to dinner with Stephen Field, if I'm not mistaken, after camp last night. So that's a really, really good sign. So Flo, listen, if we get Flo's little brother, man, that would be huge, because hopefully he can he's definitely gonna put a good word with us with his big brother.
Yeah, so, we would just have to get him soon, because his little brother is obviously 2021 guy.
Yeah, Jonathan
Flo is a 2020 guy. But tell me that wouldn't make up for one of the most beautiful stories in linebacker history when it comes to you. You got your big brother playing inside linebacker, and you come in as an outside linebacker playing for the University of Miami. I mean, you guys could play together. Just make this your happy home and get it done, baby. Come on through. Hopefully, I mean that would be a hell of a tandem to have, and you know.
Yeah, CB says you remember Ray Armstrong, but CB, he's already bigger than Ray. Because Ray was like what, 6'3", and Williams is all of 6'5", and I don't think he's even done growing.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, he moves well enough for a safety. No update on Smalls. Yeah, Cade Barong actually committed to Notre Dame already, Matthew. So Kane Barong is going to be a no-go. He committed. Now, mind you, obviously he's still far away, but he committed to Notre Dame.
Anthony says, Christian Williams, yeah, he's already on campus, and his chances to start day one. What do you think, big dog?
No, no, no. He's not going to start day
I
one,
think
but
if he
he
was an
will be our fourth.
early
Go ahead.
enrollee, I think you can make a better case for maybe for Williams. But I think Ivy and Blaze right now have obviously on up on Williams.
Yep,
Being that they've
I'm
yeah
I'm thinking. By the way, he's gotten rave reviews because Trajan Bandy talked about how hard Christian Williams is working, and he just came in and is putting in the work. But I definitely think he'll be our fourth cornerback. And hopefully we don't have a lot of injuries there where he doesn't have to play a bunch. But as a fourth cornerback, you're going to have to be on the field. You play dime and stuff like that. Guys need a breather, get nicked up. He's going to be in the rotation. But that's where I think he'll be is, and maybe not even the fourth cornerback because I think by Nigel Bethel will probably be the fourth cornerback. But Williams will be in the mix for sure.
yeah I think so.
Let's see
And
what we have here.
appreciate that, Anthony.
Update on Smalls. Anthony, I don't have anything more than the fact that we were warm on Smalls. Listen, they have Smalls trending towards FSU, and frankly, that's a dumpster fire. So, do I think that we have a very good shot of swooping in and getting Smalls, especially CB saying Ray Ray was 6'4"? Yeah, you're right, Ray. Now, after I said that, I do remember he was 6'4". The thing is, Williams is what 6'5", 215 now, and he still has a senior
Yeah,
year to
but
go. So,
he's still growing, man. If you've
yeah,
seen the way Williams has been growing throughout high school, you're just like, okay, when is this gonna plateau? When is Williams gonna stop growing? Because you don't really
thank you,
know exactly where he's gonna be at.
thank you, Anthony. You're my brother too, buddy. Thank you very much, guys. You guys are the best.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, damn. I was gonna say
I'm sorry.
something.
We were talking about Smalls.
Oh yeah. FSU, right?
I think Smalls will play inside linebacker. I know he's listed as an outside linebacker. I think he's going to play inside at the next level. And okay, I'll give you some optimism in terms of percentages. I think it's a 50-50 that we get either Flo or Savell Smalls. How's that? For 2020s, that we get either Justin Flo or Savell Smalls.
I think we maybe have a better chance of landing Smalls than we do Flow.
The thing
If
is,
I had to pick,
you look at these crystal balls. The crystal balls have FSU leading for Savell Smalls. What type of season do you think FSU is going to have? I think a really poor one.
well, it can't get any worse than 5-7.
5-7. The crystal balls have Justin Flo going to USC.
It
USC
can't get
went
any
five
worse
and
than yeah,
USC
exactly.
went 5-7 last year.
That's the
So
thing.
if
That's
we
the
have
thing
a
that
big year and I expect, like I said, I expect 10 wins as our floor, and 11, more than 10 wins I don't see us getting less than 10.
I'll tell
Then,
you what, I
then
can
all of
put.
a sudden,
I
Flo and
would
Smalls are in play.
I would be willing to bet that we have a better season than both USC and FSU. So
Oh, absolutely.
that brings back the question on some of the guys have been saying, oh, that the unit needs to win to secure some of these big time recruits. Then why is Flo so why is Flo favored to go to USC, and why is Smalls trending towards FSU? I mean, if winning is all it took, then I mean they wouldn't be trending towards those schools. So I do think winning does play a factor, obviously, especially when you're talking about big time recruits. But I mean, we saw Donnell Harris, um, and and
That's a good point, Cleavon.
and, go ahead. What do you
No,
say?
no, Cleavon said that Flo himself said that he wants to see how USC does.
And we've been saying that.
Perfect example.
We've been saying that. I mean, you got to see how things play out. If we have the season that I think we're going to have, then I think this puts us in play a lot more for some of these big time recruits. But to say that the winning is the end all be all, I wouldn't necessarily go that far either. But I do think that winning does play a big factor. But I mean, we're seeing some of these big time recruits leading towards schools that frankly had even a worse season than Miami did last year. So I mean, I think we're gonna have a better season than FSU. I think we're gonna have a better season than USC, frankly. And I know I have high expectations, for the University of Miami, and Big Dog does as well. But I mean, I think we got to see the body of work the last few years, considering where our defense has been, and considering that if just a few things were fixed on the offensive side of the football, I think we're having a much different conversation about
Guys,
the University of Miami. To be
if
honest with
we
you,
had an average passing game last year, we get 10 wins again.
yeah,
Average.
mm-hmm,
I'm
one
not
hundred
going to say
percent.
anything about offensively. I'm not. Our running game did fine. If we had, our running game probably would have done even better with an average passing game. If we even have an average passing game, which we will have above that this year, we would have won 10 games last year. So, and you had a couple of guys here because CB was mentioning Sean Taylor's size, and it's true. Taylor was big, and that's who James Williams reminded me of. But he keeps growing. That's the thing, CB. I don't know if he's done at 6'5".
Mm-hmm.
He might end up being 6'6". And God, he grew 2 inches in the last like 8 months. I mean, listen, at 6'5", he still moves well for a safety. And oh my God, and then somebody else mentioned about him playing striker. Could you imagine James Williams as striker?
It's too big, man.
No, I'll tell you what,
It's too big.
he would be a monster striker.
I just have this. It's not a concern really, but
You
I
think he's
just
gonna
see.
keep growing?
I think he's gonna keep growing. I
Yeah.
I think the last time when me and you really got into a deep conversation about Williams, what was he at? This was
Six
like
three.
he was
Yeah, he
six
was six
three.
six three two whatever 210. I think he was at that time.
Right, and then next thing you know, he's like six
6'5".
five,
Yeah.
and you're like, yo, like what's this guy eating? What kind of Wheaties is James Williams eating? Because he just keeps on growing, man. So I don't know if he's gonna stay a safety because
But by the
a
but
guy that big and
I just want to say a shout out battle tested Canes, orange and green bloods. Love you guys. Thank you, man. Love you guys back. Jimmy Johnson, Terrence Jenkins. He feels
the
Blades is going to be a
Blaze.
starter. I love Blaze.
I'm
I
rooting
love
for
Blaze to
him.
death, but I think DJ Ivy's going to be a starter. Now, it doesn't mean DJ Ivy's going to be a starter the whole season because Blades is still improving. So,
Yeah, and
but
and, uh,
I think the DJ Ivy's going to be the starter come August 24th.
and Sigmund just finished saying it right now. He would be a good defensive end. Yeah, you think?
Could you imagine that,
If
dude?
he keeps on growing, man. Hey,
If if
I'm not saying it playing it around,
no
man.
no
I'm saying
no, listen,
this guy could be a defensive
hey,
end.
I'll tell you something though, and I'm gonna go in the way back machine. Okay, so I'm gonna leave a lot of you younger guys out of this conversation. We have a Hall of Fame University of Miami linebacker who was 6'7". Okay, now a lot of younger guys going, who the hell is he talking about? Ted Hendricks, the Mad Stork, played linebacker in the NFL for 15 years from the University of Miami, and Hall of Famer, and he was 6'7". So Mad Stork, that's right. The Mad Stork blocked more kicks than any player in NFL history. Hall of Famer, monster linebacker. So I think Williams is probably, if I had to bet,
I would say probably
I'd say linebacker.
linebacker.
I'd say probably linebacker. And and,
Yeah.
and CB, if he stays 6'5", man, yeah, maybe he does stay as a safety. Maybe he does stay as a safety. I just think as a linebacker, he'd be a monster. And as a striker, oh my God, if he stays 6'5", if he goes to 6'6" or 6'7", he's going to have to move to at least linebacker, if not defensive end.
At least exactly 100%.
Just
Could be a Javon Curse. Sigmund just said could be a Javon Curse.
that's who I think Gregory Rousseau is. Sigmund.
Yeah.
Yeah. He would be, and James Williams would be a monster there at defensive end.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, dude.
Jimmy doesn't like
Jimmy, much love. Right back at you, Jimmy.
Yeah, I think he left some comments. Jimmy's not a big fan of Stubblefield and thinks that, like, bringing in former players as to coach the wide receivers could help us out more than maybe somebody like Stubblefield.
Jimmy, I'm with you, dude. I'm with you. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of that.
I just think, and I think I responded to you, Jimmy. I think it's only fair to give Stubblefield the benefit of the doubt. And then Jimmy was like, "Yeah, for 1 year." I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Yeah,
Jimmy, I'm with you. I'm with you, dude.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see David Cooney be our wide receivers coach next year. So But listen, I'm willing to be wrong. I'm hope okay. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope
Yeah.
Stubblefield proves me wrong and proves to be a great wide receivers coach and a great recruiter. He is a good technician. I'll give him that. Okay, because everybody that I've heard, all the reports I've seen and stuff, he is very technique oriented. You have to remember, this is a guy who didn't have great ability, great talent, but he caught 316 balls at Purdue.
Mhm.
Okay, as a player, averaged 79 catches a year in his 4 year career. Okay, so if a guy doesn't have great athleticism and can average almost 80 balls a year for 4 years in college, tells you he was a technician with great hands. He does have the wide receivers catching 150 balls a day from the jugs machine.
Mhm.
Um,
And
I'm willing
Eric
I'm
points
willing to
out,
give him the benefit of the doubt, Jimmy. But yeah, as a recruiter, he's never recruited at this level, and so far I'm not impressed.
Eric points out something. So what if Stubblefield takes away Worsham
That's
from Bama?
Eric. I just don't like Worsham, dude. I don't think he's a good fit for us. He's a very much a possession type of receiver, and listen, those have a
But still,
place.
no. But according, like when it comes to recruiting, regardless if you like the player or not, the fact that he maybe could take Worsham away from Alabama, I think proves that he's a little more serviceable than we're giving him
What do
credit
you say,
for.
buddy? Buddy, yeah, you did make the live show. No, D Rev said about Cooney, the next step is a position coach. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, D Rev,
it's
I
only a matter of time when it comes to Cooney, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah. Cooney's one of those guys that's headed for big things. Headed
Yeah,
for big things. That's a future. That's a future head coach probably down the line somewhere. Obviously, I'm going, 10 years down the line. But listen, the best thing we could hope for is maybe Cooney. Maybe Cooney has no interest in coaching, although I believe he does, and
I
and
think
he wants to stay in the administrative side and end up becoming an athletic director. But I don't think that's the case. I think Cooney's going to be a wide receivers coach, and I definitely don't want to lose Cooney and keep Stubblefield. I
yeah,
can tell you that much. And buddy, you did make the live show. Thank you guys one more time. Just a quick reminder: if you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't done that.
yeah. Share and do all that good
Yeah,
stuff. He
guys.
said D Rev heard that Bama stopped recruiting Worsham hard. That's why he's
He's shopping
shopping
now.
now.
No, that's what D Rev Andrew Ivins reported today that, and he sort of, I mean, it seemed like it was a credible source that Alabama is making him a priority, keeping him in the class. So I don't think that's the case. What I think happened there, D Rev, is that you got to remember when Worsham committed to Bama, those offensive coaches are all gone, and one of them was Dan Enos. So he knew Enos before this whole thing started because he knew him when Enos was at Alabama. Um, I just, guys, you guys know I give you my opinion, and you do with it what you like. My opinion, at least, what the only thing I can guarantee you, it's informed. Meaning, I look at tape and I look at video myself, and I look at a lot of it. I get, I I like my batting average, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I don't
Go.
like Worship. I don't think he's a fit for Miami because I think for our offense, really for Miami, because of the type of receivers that we can get from South Florida, you got to have a little bit of speed. And Worsham has none. And he didn't have any even before his hip surgery. Now, if you watch him on clips, he didn't play in the greatest of leagues. He is from Alabama. You in high school in Alabama, in Trussville. Um, and it doesn't look like he gets run down from behind or anything like that. But it also doesn't impress me in terms of speed. And with the types of receivers that we get locally all the time, to reach for somebody who at his best could be just a possession receiver, I'm not feeling it.
Mm,
All right, I'm not
yeah.
feeling it. Thank you, buddy. Uh,
Buddy Woolworth says thank you, Big Dog and Junior. I love your insight. Appreciate it, man. Um, we got here. Should do stuff.
James, thank you for joining us.
I think
Yeah,
we get Isaiah Walker as well, man. I have a really good feeling about Isaiah
I do.
Walker.
I do too.
I
I
really
know
do.
some people had him trending to FSU. The only thing I'll say, the only qualifier that I'll say is you got to remember these kids, they're different than we were in terms of they have all this information at their disposal. The fact that when we got Jalen Rivers, that Butch Barry even mentioned that he sees Rivers being a great left tackle, I wonder if that impacted Walker at all. Okay, that's my only negative in terms of Walker. Um, but the young man has visited a bunch. One of the things I was really happy about, for those of you that didn't know, Walker visited last week, not this week, the previous one, during the week, then went to camp, to the big man camp that they had on Sunday, just because he wanted to be coached by Butch Berry. And that says something that Walker wanted to go to that camp. He wasn't planning on going to that camp. He went to that camp strictly because he wanted to be coached by Butch Berry. And I think Butch Berry's bona fides of the NFL, of coming, 4 years in the NFL, even staying with the same team when they change coaching staffs, which is unheard of. You guys know coaches nowadays, when they take over a head coach, they want to bring in their own guys. Butch Berry kept his job at Tampa Bay and did a really good job with their offensive line, even when they changed coaches. And that I think might be the deciding factor. And I think we have a good chance of getting Isaiah Walker. I do.
Yeah.
Now, if in his mind he's wondering because of Jalen Rivers, that I can't tell you, but I think that could be the reason if we don't get him. I hope that answers, James.
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy, again for the kind words. Bell, the receiver that committed to Bama. Listen, he said some really positive things, and he visited a couple of times in the past couple of weeks. He wasn't at Paradise because they had a trip. I believe it was to South Carolina, I want to say. So he wasn't there for Paradise. For you guys, he's talking about I can't ever pronounce that first name.
Jo-
TH
no,
Thou Jones Bell. Can
Jones
I just
Bell.
hey, would you just let me
Jones
call him
Bell.
Sigmund? Can I just call him Jones Bell? Um, that's a guy that I really like. I mean, he has
Yeah.
some serious wheels. Really good speed. I think at the end of the day, I think he stays with Bama. I think he stays with Bama. Um, he spoke a lot of. He said that Miami felt completely different this last visit, when last couple times that he was there, that he could tell it's a new Miami and he loved the vibe and he felt really at home, and that I think Miami gave him some things to think about. But I do remember Jones Bell talking a lot about that Bama ever since he was a kid, a young kid, because he's still a kid. But ever since he was a young kid, he was always been a Bama fan, and that was his dream school. So I don't think we pull him. I don't think we get Jones Bell. And yeah, James, I agree with you 100%. That's what I'm saying about Worsham. Listen, we got the Tri-County area, okay, where wide receivers that run 4.5s are falling from trees in South Florida.
Yeah.
Okay, why are we going to take a possession receiver just to say we got somebody away from Alabama?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't get that. Uh,
No,
uh,
Zach's 30
no,
minutes.
D
Jones Bell's
Rev,
the elite, 100%, man.
yeah, D Rev. I don't read anything to Fleming not being there. He's been there a bunch recently, and he had that prior engagement plan before. Dominic Mammarelli wasn't there either, and I'm not reading anything into that. So James says about recruiting. So no, D Rev. I hope that answers. I'm not. I don't think anything about Marcus Fleming not being there.
I don't think
I
so.
think
Yeah.
he's.
And
I think he's still solid.
he was asked. I mean, and he's reiterated that he's 1,000% committed to the Canes. So I don't
Yeah.
think there's an issue there with Fleming at all.
Yeah. James said about recruiting Bell hard. Yeah, James. I mean, I think we are, but I just don't see it happening. I think he sticks with Bama.
Yeah.
Reggie Wayne, the receivers coach. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Jimmy, I don't know if those guys want to do the job. Because you got to remember a lot of these guys that you're talking about, they're all financially well off. And do you want to?
Not just that, but I think that like I would love. Don't get me wrong, man. Like if you tell me, Reggie Wayne, Santana,
Of
whatever,
course,
I
that's
would love to have
royalty.
them as coaches. But there's one thing about having, and this is an argument that I've always kind of like made, that just because you're a great NFL, just because you're a great past wide receiver for the Kings, and just because you go on to be a great wide receiver, and even in some cases a Hall of Fame wide receiver in the NFL, that does not mean you could be a great coach. And like Big Dog says, you have to want to coach. And a lot of these guys, when you talk about Reggie Wayne and stuff like that, they don't have the same relationships that they did with high school coaches back in the day that they do now. So it's like you're basically asking to bring in a guy just because he's royalty, but doesn't necessarily have the relationship with the coaches that he needs to have, and doesn't have the experience in being an actual coach. Like,
Well,
do I want Ray Lewis to come in and
right.
coach up the linebackers? You damn right. Do I want Ed Reed to be coaching up, freaking Gervin Hall and Bubba Bolden and Amari Carter? Yeah, 100%. But I mean, we don't know. Like that's a big question mark. And I feel like just because they're loyal, they're royalty, and they're former Canes that we love, obviously, that we give them the benefit of the doubt. But what I'm trying to say is the staff that Manny picked, let's give these guys the benefit of the doubt for now. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? And we'll see what happens.
and the thing is, Jimmy, is about those guys is when you're financially stable, you got to remember a lot of coaching at the college level isn't glamorous, because we see game day and we see practices and stuff like that. These are guys that got to take the red eye to Tacoma to check out some 16-year-old that's yanking their chain.
Right,
You
right.
know, these guys that are financially stable, you think that they want to go, get a rent a car and drive 6 hours to go see some guy who might never even end up playing.
Yeah.
So, a lot
McLovin,
of
McLovin the Canes, love y'all show, man. Better than
thank you, man.
ESPN. Thank you so much.
Sigmund also said best show ever. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Hurricane Andrew, great show, fellas.
Thank you, buddy.
Kane, battle tested. I think. Yeah, you bring up a good point, battle tested Kane. I think they're better off in the mentor role. I'm not saying they can't be coaches.
100%. No,
I'm not
no.
saying they can't be coaches, but you know, the fact that they don't have any coaching experience, we
You
can't just
don't
say just plug them in and they're gonna make miracles
a good
happen.
coach, right?
At what right?
And Ed Reed said that. I think he said a comment like that. If I'm remembering, I'm going from memory. When he came for the Notre Dame week a couple of years ago, he said that he loved it. He loved coaching up the guys, and he loved being. But then he also said something along the lines, "Yeah, it's not something I do all the time." Like saying, "I don't want this as my full time job, but I did love doing it." And
Yeah.
that's a great role for a mentor. Rigger said Butch Barry will be working for Sabre. I hope not. I hope we keep Butch. The only thing
Now,
I don't.
now when we start winning national championships,
There
and
you go.
Alabama falls
No,
back a little
Rigger.
bit.
I think my only fear about losing Butch is going back to the NFL. That would be the move I think he would make. Zach says Jones Bell is elite. Zach, you're right. I mean, you're 17 touchdowns on 38 catches.
Mhm.
He is elite, but the thing is, Zach, I just don't think we have a shot at him. I think he ends up staying with Bama.
Yeah.
Matt, you said McLovin, thank you, buddy. Hurricane Andrew, thank you. James Julius, who will be the next running back we get in the class, if any? Good question. One of the
I say
guys, I think it was
Parrish. If I had to
no
pick one, I'll
Parrish. Parrish is going Pittsburgh.
Oh, he is. He did commit
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Pitt. He did
yeah. He's
commit to
going. He's
Pitt.
going to Pitt.
I don't think. I don't think
Now,
we. I,
mind
I
you,
don't think
we
we
can flip him.
landed.
Yeah, we could flip him if we wanted to. We know we could flip him if we wanted to because Parrish wanted to go to Miami.
Yeah,
Miami just wouldn't let him commit. I think we're still trying to get Jalen Knighton. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Knighton's going to end up at FSU.
I think so too.
D Rev brought up a great point of moving Mookie Cooper to running back. But the thing is, I think Mookie is going to stay local and go to Illinois unless Illinois has a terrible season. Then we have a shot at Mookie. Other than that, I don't think a second running back necessarily, James, is a definitive. that we're
Mhm.
gonna definitely get two running backs. I think we're gonna take a running back if we like somebody outside of Don Chaney.
Yeah.
So Canester, nationwide, Xavier Henderson. The thing is, I'm feeling Henderson ends up either at Clemson or with his brother at Florida. I don't. I love Henderson because he's a baller too, but I don't think we have a legitimate shot at Henderson.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hendrick says, "Shout out to the big dog. No offense, Junior. Pops got the barbershop knowledge."
that's
One
right.
hundred percent,
Hey,
baby.
I see me with that with the Clippers and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I could probably talk all day at a barbershop. George Realist George's development. Carlos asked that. Yeah, they say he's looking fantastic. Got rid of a lot of that bad weight because he was carrying. He didn't have a lot of bad weight because the dude was was strong as hell when he came to us from high school. But he's cut down on his body fat percentage considerably, and they've been raving about him. So I expect Dan Enos is going to use him in a fullback, H back type of role. Obviously, he's not going to take a ton of snaps. He's not going to be on the field a bunch because we have Brevin Jordan can play that role too. But George is looking good so far.
Yeah.
He mentioned Andre Johnson is working with the kids at Liberty City at some high school. That's a different gig, Jimmy, because that's all they're doing is going out and working with the kids.
Right.
When you're assistant coach at the college level, you're going to be doing a lot of traveling,
A lot
a
more
lot
stuff.
of living out of a suitcase
Yeah.
with recruiting and stuff like that. So I think that's a different gig.
100%.
Hearing Moyes and Anelli might not stick. Dorian Anelli was there at Paradise Camp, and by the way, I think Jalen Rivers handled him when they were doing the one-on-ones for the big men. Moyes, I haven't. Listen, I think Moyes sticks. Um, I mean, I'm the thing is with Moyes is, man, I just haven't heard. I haven't gotten a lot of feedback in terms of him wanting to be there a lot. Um, and obviously for him, it's not like Coral Gables is a world away. Listen, anything could happen. I think Anelli definitely sticks. Moyes, I believe he sticks, Dorian, but I see why there's doubt about Moyes. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Okay, and I do want him because that young man. Listen, when you play both ways and he plays as well as he does, I definitely like Moyes quite a bit. So I hope he sticks. But that's the thing with Moyes. And yeah, I don't think we have any shot at Xavier. Thank you, Joseph. Great, thank you, buddy. Any word on Hodges, Sigmund?
Hmm.
Buddy, listen, the young man, and again, I want to just mention this really quick, guys. I try to always remember that at the end of the day, we're talking about young men. Okay. And so I want you guys to understand that if when I say something negative in terms of evaluating, I still have in my mind that they're young guys.
Yeah.
Okay, that they're kids. So they're not NFL players, they're not 25-year-old men, And so when I
To
say
that
negative,
point, to that point,
go ahead.
I think we both can, we're both on the same page when it comes to this. If we might have a certain criticism about a kid, man, I hope to God he proves us wrong.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
whoever it may be.
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
I hope somebody like Hodges, even though me and the big dog do have our criticisms, which I think they're rightfully so in certain aspects. I hope to God that he proves us wrong and he goes out there and just balls out
And
for the game.
balls. And balls. Now
Yeah.
listen, some people said that Justin Hodges reminds them of Michael Jackson. You guys remember how bad Michael Jackson look when he first came to us. We thought he was never going to be a baller, and now he's getting a shot in the NFL.
And that's a shout out to Rumpf because of the way he
Yes,
developed. He
but
developed somebody
but
like MJ.
but Michael Jackson also ran a 4.44 in the combine, and Justin Hodges ran a 4.89.
For
So
it.
4.89, yeah, yeah. That's the thing. Sigmund is,
But
I think,
these kids don't know how to run 40s, man.
yeah, dude. But I've seen it on tape. He's no faster than a 4.6.
I get it, but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, and that's not a
I don't think
cornerback
he's
at the
as slow.
University of
I
Miami.
mean,
But he's not a cornerback at the University of Miami. I'm sorry. He's not. He's just not. So Sigmund, the thing is on Hodges, he was there at the camp. Um, they threw at him a bunch. Okay, that's all I'll say. They threw at him a bunch. And thank you, buddy, for doing that. He said he hit like and shared to Facebook. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
Um,
Nervous,
Sigmund,
George. Nobody is nervous about that Florida game, baby.
I'm hoping Sigmund that we process Hodges out. That we tell him, listen, uh, there's Hendrick. Thank you, man. He's doing the barbershop knowledge. Yeah, the thing is with Hodges, I hope we process him out. Process him out. I hope we tell him, you know, listen, uh, you're not going to get the playing time here. I know it sounds cruel, whatever, to do a kid who seems to be 100% orange and green, but he's not a cornerback. I don't know why Rumpf accepted that commitment when he did, because right now we could get Keyshawn Lawrence, and then we still have Marcus Clark, we still have Brian George, we still have guys that are much higher up on the board than Justin Hodges. So
Yeah.
that's my feeling, but
Not,
I haven't heard anything that they are trying to talk him out of coming to Miami.
yeah.
Let's
We'll
see
see.
here.
I
Cam,
think
Cam
you're
Van
behind on
Dyke.
me in the comments.
Yeah, I am. I'm trying to catch up. Cam Van Dyke, buddy, Cam Van Dyke bring Darnell to Miami. Darnell talked a lot about how good he felt catching balls from Van Dyke yesterday.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't say that one. I don't think Van Dyke has any input or
He does. These guys want to play
pull
with a
there.
quarterback. Yeah, these wide receivers and tight ends, they want to play with a primetime quarterback. And Washington felt that Van Dyke is a primetime quarterback. So I do think that that's going to play at least a part in it. I do think we have a shot at Washington because he's paid his own way twice to visit us.
Yeah,
Let's see here.
that dude Smooch is saying he's on the Hodges train. He's saying that he's a dog and he's better than you think. I mean, look, he better be. I mean, the fact that Rumpf offered him, as early as he did, I think Rumpf does see something there, and the fact that because I didn't notice that, like he is a dog. Don't get me wrong. So maybe I don't know, man. The fact that look, Rumpf has proven to bring in quality talent, and he's proven to also develop these DBs.
Here's my point. Here's my point, guys. Here's my point. What is our recruiting base? The state of Miami, especially South Florida. We sign a cornerback that runs a 4.89.
Yeah, but we got to keep it consistent too, man. We can't just go based on a 40 time. These kids
No,
don't
no,
know how.
no.
These kids don't know how to run a
I
40
feel you,
yard.
and he's long, and he's long. I'll give you that
Yeah,
much. Okay, but what I'm saying is Northwestern, Carroll City, Central, Booker T, dude, they all got quarterbacks that run better than that. Okay,
yeah.
you remember what I said about wide receivers? Same thing goes for cornerbacks. Fast quarterbacks in the Tri-County area, they fall from the trees. And as much as I like the kid, he seems like a good kid. I just don't see him playing cornerback for Miami. So I would like to see us get Lawrence and maybe George or Kendall Dennis or Marcus Clark. I think it's obviously Keyshawn Lawrence, um, Brian George, Marcus Clark, Kendall Dennis. Although I would have those flip. I'd have Dennis ahead of Clark, but I think they got Clark ahead of Dennis on our board. So I hope that they process them out. Let me catch up here.
I like Dennis. We got to start wrapping this up soon.
Yeah, let's see here. Stubblefield, what they do with Anthony, with Banda and Rump. I think Banda and Rump are staying. Stubblefield, I think he'll be our coach for a year. And then I see maybe David Cooney being our wide receivers coach.
I'm good with it.
Battle tested Kane. What do I think about Hightower and about Boys having a lazy body build? His body build doesn't look great, but the thing is, his tape, battle tested Kane, his tape playing both ways, the kid doesn't take a play off. So I do like Moyes quite a bit. Hightower, if he's 100% healthy from the knee surgery that he had, I think he is going to have a really good season.
Oh, 100.
Probably 25, 30 balls, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I want to make sure I catch up. Red zone, yeah. Clavon, that's an awesome. I like that. George and Joku, Jordan, Mallory, and Irvin. Damn. That's you got plenty of big
All
targets to
around.
throw in the
Yeah.
red zone. You know what? I'd probably throw Hightower in there and not George. But we could obviously, yeah, we could obviously. Well, you know what? Maybe we are going to leave George at that running back in red zone or short yardage. So you might be right about that.
Shoot. Yeah. 31s, give it a little fullback dive,
Yeah,
maybe.
no, I like that. I do like that. Let's see where I'm at here. Oh man, I'm trying to catch up.
Oh, we
Oh,
got.
where am I at?
mm,
Okay, here we go. Who is our punt returner? Rigor mortis. I think it's going to be Jeff Thomas and DJ Dallas.
Look,
Yeah, James Julius says that Hodges has to grind hard. You're right. That kid hasn't hit the weight room and hasn't really ran on it, and he does remind me of Jackson too. So hey, maybe Rumph proves me wrong.
yeah, man, you never know. I was thinking about something. I think in our last live chat, one of the guys mentioned it. They're concerned about Jalen Phillips and his interest in music and whatnot. And then I started, I obviously follow him on Twitter, and I started seeing a lot. Like I don't know if it's because somebody brought that to my attention that's the reason why it was kind of in the back of my head. Like, oh, maybe this guy is caring a lot more about music than he is about football. And then Hendrick just said it. What's the deal with Phillips? Seems like he's more focused on his music career. I will say this: I've been noticing that more since some of you guys have been pointing that out. But I would like to see how much that focus changes once next year rolls around. Like I would,
Right.
the fact that he's not playing this year, and I know a lot of guys are gonna be like, but still, man, you haven't played football, in quite some time. You should be in there, you should be working and stuff like that. Hey, look, man, the guy loves music, and he's doing his thing right now. I think he has like a single coming out or something, and then during Paradise Camps, he was on set making a music video or whatnot. So I was kind of like, hmm. So I've been paying a little more attention to that guy saying that he's more concerned about his music career and whatnot. But I think even with him, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Being that he's not going to play this year, we already know that for certain. We'll see how this translates into next year, and going into camp next year, we'll see where he's at, and then we'll start hearing a lot more about whether he's been putting in work in the weight room or not. I think it's not fair to necessarily be so concerned about his music career and him putting more focus on that right now. We'll see what he does next year, man, and we'll see what he does in camp
The thing
going into next year.
the only thing I'd add to that is watching, and I've watched a bunch of Jalen Phillips tape. He plays like he loves football. A guy that doesn't love football, you could tell in their tape because the eye in the sky doesn't lie. And I didn't see one play where evidence that he doesn't love football. But listen, Chad Thomas was into music also, so you can do both. But I believe he is going to come back and he's going to be a force next year. I want to just go through these quick so I can make sure to get everybody. We talked about Justin Hodges already. McLovin mentions that Rumph was a player, not coaching. The difference there, McLovin, is I think Rumph is decided that he wants a career in coaching. Some of those other guys haven't shown that they do. That they just like being the mentor type of thing. So Walker shut down his recruitment. Chris Wilcox says he's locked in with SC. He said that last time I heard, he said he was 90% committed because he used to say he was 100% committed. Chris, I think that's one of those that might go down to the wire, but he might very well stick with that SC South Carolina commitment. So let's
I, I,
see.
I still think we get Walker. I don't know why.
Battle Tested Kane talks about asking about the JUCO corner from Belglade. That's Brian George. Right now, Battle Tested, I think he sits second on our cornerback board behind only Keyshawn Lawrence. So we'll see what happens with Lawrence. I still think if we get Lawrence and George, because George is definitely interested. I think he's ours if we want him. But if we get Lawrence and George, then we have to process out Justin Hodges.
Mhm.
And I agree, he is a dog.
Yeah.
We'll see how long it lasts. Who played at Portland?
Clayvon says, "What do you think of just
Portland kid about that played at who's a JUCO. I really haven't heard too much about what he's doing there. Um, oh, Clayvon says a good thing. Yeah, maybe Hodges can come in as a preferred walk on. No, no, nationwide. What is it? Kane tester unit nationwide. Hodges can play. I've seen his tape. Listen, the kid picked off. I think the one site had him picking off 4 passes, another site had him picking off 8. But if you look at the tape, he can play. But in the tape, I see a lack of speed. I do. I see a lack of speed. I see people that can get behind them.
I see a
And
lack of speed as well, but I don't think he's 49 either.
no, I don't think he's 49. He probably plays for the high 4.6s. But again, we're going back to a cornerback that's running if he even if he doesn't run a 4.89 because he hasn't been trained, he hasn't hit the weights hard, he hasn't worked really hard. He's fairly new to football. I get all that, and he can play, but I just see there's a lot better options out there that if we wouldn't have taken his commitment, if let's forget about Justin Hodges committed. If he had not committed right now, he probably sits 5th on our board in terms of cornerback behind Lawrence, George, Clark, and Dennis.
Yeah, I
So
agree with
that,
that.
that that's the thing that I see with that. And he
Got
is late in the fence.
If you guys haven't liked yet, please do so. We're about to start wrapping this up already.
Yeah, guys, I'm sorry. I try to keep up with the questions as much as I can.
Pope should be the punt returner this year, Zach Sterling. Because I know you're still trying to catch up, big dog, but
Yeah,
it's kind of hard
go
to.
ahead, dude. If you had the question, just shoot them at me in case of me
Yeah,
looking.
we got
I see
retro in here.
I think
Benny.
CB had mentioned about Jeff Thomas or DJ Dallas. We do have a plenty of talent. I don't know. Maybe you see Mark Pope back there also. But listen, Jeff Thomas and DJ Dallas both proved that they could take it to the house on a punt return, and that could turn a game around.
Yeah,
So, I don't like either one of those guys returning kickoffs because in kickoff returns, I want to see Nigel Bethel and Lorenzo Lingard. But I think Jeff Thomas and DJ Dallas will be our top 2 punt returners.
yeah. All
Uh,
right. So
what did I miss, dude? I
any
missed a whole bunch.
any last quick
Guys,
questions before we go ahead and get out of here, guys?
yeah, I apologize. I was trying to keep up with all the questions and trying to answer them all. Zach mentioned that Pope should be a punt returner this season. I think he's probably right now, he's probably the 3rd punt returner. But obviously a lot depends on if DJ and Jeff Thomas are fully healthy. But I think it'll be those 2 guys will be the top 2 guys.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
they asking about Joseph again, who went JUCO. I just haven't heard, other than Brian George, I haven't heard us chasing any other JUCO transfers. So that's the thing. I don't see. I haven't even seen any tea leaves with that, so I don't have any more info on that.
Clavon says, what do you think about Lingard's workouts on his accounts? He looks like he's
Jeez.
ready, baby.
Hey, if you guys haven't seen that, man, who said that? Cleavon?
That was Clavon, yeah.
Cleavon, yeah, man. If you
Me
if
and
you
you
guys
talked about that. We were like, dude, hey, he's ready.
we were like sending each other DMs about, did you see Lingard? And yeah, he looks fantastic, man. Lingard's probably up to about 205, maybe even 210.
Yeah, I say
I think
210
probably
at
205.
least, baby.
Big
I don't know. Yeah, oh yeah.
And
That
he
boy,
is
he's tore
ripped.
up.
He is
He's
ripped.
tore up.
Tell you what, those people that are counting Lingard out, he's gonna
Hey,
surprise.
he looks 100% ready, man. Ready. I mean, if you guys look at, go to his Twitter, and I think he posted up, one of the clips of him working out and whatnot. Hey, he's ready. He's ready, and he's gonna be ready for the opening of the season. 100%. Like, I was a little skeptical at first. I knew he was gonna be back, but I was concerned whether they were going to try to, throw him into the fold early on. But the way he's looking, he's ready. He's ready, and I'm excited because now we have a 3-headed monster in the backfield with DJ, with Harris, and with Lingard. So I can't be more excited about our running back situation right now heading into the season.
No, guys, please, before you go, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. Hit the notifications bell. It would really help us out and
Yeah.
help us, keep it going. By the way, we hit 500 subscribers
Oh, it's
already.
official.
I think so. I think
Let's
so.
get it, baby. Hey,
So, and guys,
all because of you guys.
you are the ones that deserve all the credit. You guys have been. I mentioned this in one of the comments. In fact, to Saeed Bashir, the guy who had the idea for us to do a Paradise Camp show today, that we have the Junior and the Big Dog family, which is all you guys. That you guys not just tune in, but you have taken it upon yourselves to help us build our audience. And I am so thankful and grateful to all of you. You all are a blessing and thank you so much. But please, if you haven't already, hit the like button and subscribe and hit the notifications bell and share and leave some comments.
And tell your
Uh,
mamas, your uncles, your nieces, your dads, cousins, uh, brothers and sisters in laws, whoever, just share, guys, spread the word of Junior and the Big Dog. We would
oh,
really appreciate it.
I thought you were going to do the Michael Irvin. You're going to go into the Michael Irvin speech. For those of you that didn't see Michael Irvin's speech yesterday, as always, man, you hear Michael Irvin and you like your hairs on your arms and your back of your neck stand up and you're like ready to run through a brick wall. That dude would be a hell of a coach. Talk about giving you motivation.
He make you want to run through a brick wall, Irvin. I
Oh,
swear,
he
man.
does. He does. But if you guys haven't seen that, I definitely say you should see it. But thank you guys so much. I hope I answered. I try to answer all of them, guys. And if I didn't get to your questions, I apologize. I was trying to keep up with them, and but you guys are the
Just
best again.
keep them in the back for the next live chat. But keep an eye out as well. If you guys hit that notification bell, you get notified anytime we go ahead and upload a video. We're gonna do our breakdown of Chris Washington and more commits. Breakdown. If we haven't done the breakdown previous, when we talked about the prospects possibly for the 2020 recruiting class, then we'll go ahead. Any new commitments, we'll go ahead and do our video breakdown like we do for you guys, breaking down the player and our evaluation based, our opinion on the evaluation based on the talent that's coming in. So we're gonna go ahead and do a video for Washington. So be on the lookout for that one. And yeah, more to come. Hopefully we get some more commits rolling in after a successful Paradise weekend. I think
Yeah.
we can all
And
say.
besides Washington, we're going to put in the clip for Elijah Roberts that we did cover him in our defensive prospects. So we're going to do a short one with the Chris Washington and Elijah Roberts. But you guys have seen Roberts on our previous video, so it won't be. We won't. I mean, we'll still go in depth, but we'll give you guys a first look at Chris Washington and Elijah Roberts in a separate short that we should do here in a couple of days. So keep on a
100%.
lookout. And as always, we'll keep giving you the content at least on a weekly basis, if not more often.
Yeah. So, with that being said, I think me and the Big Dog are out. I hope you guys have a good night. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in, for joining us in this live stream, and for chopping it up with me and the Big Dog. I mean, this live chat would be nothing without you guys tuning in, asking your questions, and engaging with us. You guys are the ones that make the show, not the other way around. So we really do appreciate it. You guys' involvement, and we hope to keep on coming with the content. And obviously your support means the world to us. So like, subscribe, share, like we've already said. And yeah, anything else, Big Dog, before we get out of here?
Thank you, Terrence, who's giving us congrats and stuff. Guys, again, Junior and the Big Dog family is the greatest, man. You guys have made this a really fun thing to do, and we're grateful for you. So
Yes, sir.
we are. It's as always. It is all about that you.
You already know. Hope you guys have a good night and a good start to your week coming up.